So, I'm just going to do another little series of basic self-defense it works for men, obviously, but for women as well, how to defend yourself against someone who's stronger, bigger than you, taller, etc., etc., weighs a lot more. But I'm doing the most simple things possible for real life situations. Eventually I'll get a bit more advanced, like maybe you have a set of keys in your pocket, maybe you have a pen, and ways you can do quick preemptive strikes to escape. But this is basically just a bit of head control, a basic head control, you know, control of the head and side control. One of the first things that you learn in most martial arts for self-defense, the clinch. Obviously you do it in Muay Thai. Now it's done slightly different in different martial arts, but everything I'm doing is based for real life and fighting. A lot of people will go like this: I do Muay Thai, so that means I can defend myself. Nah, it doesn't. It really doesn't. That real life story that I always tell and remember is, I was at a gym when I was younger, and there was a guy who was actually getting looked at by the UFC. He was a top fighter. He was a scouser, so he had the scouse bad attitude. I'm scouse, I'm better than you. And he started calling everyone nonsense for no reason. Everyone was a nonce but him. And he really started insulting this guy, and this guy was in his 60s. And we're talking about a guy who has had over 100 professional fights, over 100 victories, like from the level of youth levels in his early 20s. He was advertised in Liverpool. You can look him up online, you'll find out. Anyway, basically, to cut a long story short, he started making remarks about this man who's in his 60s, about his kids. They went outside and they had a fight. The man who was in his 60s beat this pro fighter to such a degree, he put him into a coma and nearly ended his life. So when someone goes, I'm a cage fighter, it doesn't mean fuck all. Obviously it teaches you how to punch, you learn your stances, blah, blah, blah. And I learned that very quick. I learned when I was doing boxing what worked on the streets. I came from a very rough area. I had a very abusive background, as you know. So I learned what worked in a fight, what didn't work in a fight really quick. I learned that, you know, if someone went for a clinch, for example, a headlock or certain moves, I would bite their elbows, I would bite their ears, I'd bite their cheeks off. I learned that I would shove my fingers in people's eyes. I learned that if someone's on the floor, I'd stamp on their head, you know. I learned these things, these were just things that I learned. But I learned as well how to strike properly, how to do a uppercut, how to do hooks. You know, it's like when people go, there's jabs, there's loads of ways of jabbing. There's obviously a basic jab. You can step back on a jab. You can side jab, you know, you can jab in that move. There's loads of ways, and you learn all these things. Obviously, your environment comes into it, like the floor. You know, you can be great at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Are you going to roll around with me on the street and cut your back and rip your flesh open? Bear in mind, I'm going to be biting your throat. These things aren't going to happen. So these are all trying to be as realistic as possible to save lives, to stop girls getting raped, to stop girls getting assaulted and being victims. I know these things work, and I've been very, very proud of them, simply because, well, there's loads of instances, but one was a 19-year-old girl who I trained for some time. She was assaulted, and someone attempted to rape her, and she was 5'7", 8 stone. The guy who attempted to rape her was 6'4", 5, 18, 19 stone. He was a big guy, and she was able to she managed to get him in a basic chokehold when he lifted her, and he couldn't get her off. And because it only takes 5 or 6 seconds when you're doing these, he started to go unconscious, so she was able to defend herself, and was able to knock him unconscious, and then she got the police and whatnot. So it does work. I know it saved lives, and I've got numerous stories. That was just a good one with this being for women. Anyway, I'm going to show you one of the most basic moves, and we'll slightly get more advanced video by video. I'm using different girls of different sizes to demonstrate, and I've just done this one in the kitchen. I'm going to do a lot of these in the gym, but this was just handy when I really wanted to start this, so here we go. So I'm going to demo this now. It's the basic one with the neck. Sophie's going to do it on me. I'll try to pick some of this quite a lot. How much do you weigh? About 8, 9 stone?
No, 10.5.
10.5 stone, she's still a lot lighter than me. And she's going to show you basically how to move someone, like I've explained before. So like a lot of people will go like this when they're fighting, they'll do it. Now I'm a lot heavier than her, so I can't. So if you try and move me, she can't really move me. So what you do is you grab the neck and bring the elbows in right here like she has, and you try and do it. So you see it now, she's trying that way, she's trying me about. She can now move me how she wants. So no matter how strong I am or how big I am, she's capable of moving me around. Now obviously if she was doing that, she would like a clever thing here to do is she was moving me, someone bigger, like say I was trying to assault her, she could then knee me, like this. She could move me down here, start hitting me. There's numerous things she could do. So it allows you to get out of bad situations quite easily. And it's a really effective move. I mean, even in the worst case scenario, she could go and run, and it gives her that 3, 4, 5 seconds. Now, she did it really hard as she could actually take me to the floor, which again gives her 7 or 8 seconds to get away, else she could kick me. But, you know, that can be the difference between someone who gets sexually assaulted, someone who gets hurt, and who's able to survive.